Welcome
Hello.
to New York Sofalites. Hello, Rachel. How's it going?
Hello. I'm well. How are you?
Good, pretty good. Starting to recover a little bit in LA. Everyone's kind of getting back on the track. The fires are more than half out, so that's a good thing. But it's still a little bit um, stressful and scary for a lot of people. But it's going on the up, so that's good.
We're thinking about you guys out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I have not been impacted. I didn't need to evacuate, but I know it's pretty tough for a lot of people right now. But I did get a little foster dog, um, and yeah.
Yay.
But we can talk about winter activities, which include Copenhagen Fashion Week, why we love it so much, and what our
Yes.
thoughts are on it. So
Yes. But
yeah,
before we do that, I thought that it was really a fun idea to set up this podcast since it's called the New York Sofalites, and
yeah,
that is a word that we made up.
true. Yes.
Gretchen, what is a Sofalite?
Okay, so my idea of a Sofalite is someone who is very socially aware, culturally aware, but maybe doesn't engage in it as much as like a socialite might, perhaps. That we obviously are all in different cities. We kind of love to observe and be part of the mix, but we're not like out partying with the socialites necessarily. But
Yes,
we
we're
are aware, we're
engaged.
cultured. Yeah, yes, exactly. So the sofa is like where we feel maybe most comfortable, but we also like to be, yeah, knowledgeable and connected to what's going on. Yeah. So,
Yes, we are engaged, but from our sofas.
how about you, Rachel? What are your thoughts?
I think that's right. I think I wrote one down here. We are well known to be fashionable, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of opinions on society and
Mm-hmm.
entertainment from our respective sofas.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a great description too. We are opinionated. We are no, we I think amongst our circles do pretty well with fashion. I would say we are aware of what's going on. We like to be, um, I don't know if like we're all. I don't know if I like the word trendy, but I think we all like to be
Mm,
have our own style and be aware of like what's rising and trends and stuff. So yeah, I think that's right.
yes. What is
Yeah.
your most sofalite trait?
My most Sofalite trait is probably, well, I think my first thought is like when I was younger, my mom always got Vogue magazine and she very rarely read them, but I read them like cover to cover. So I was always like, of course, I'm never going to any fashion shows, like, or I wasn't as a kid. I haven't yet in my life, but I was so aware. And so, like, I would also get Teen Vogue eventually when that came out. And I was just
Yes.
mining that for like things throughout high school and feeling very like fashionable and ahead of the curve. And I felt like I started some trends. I felt very proud of myself. But again, this was all like knowledge gathered from my sofa. I was not like, I wasn't from the city or anything. I was from upstate New York. I'm from upstate New York. I was living there. And I just felt like I wanted to know everything. And I still feel like I want to know everything going on, even if I'm like in my head I might feel like I'm part of the mix even though physically I am not. But I think that's
I think you
probably,
are. I think we're part of
yeah.
the mix.
Yeah, I think so. I think this podcast helps us get into the mix too. But yeah, I think probably my desire to just take in all that information about fashion, art, culture, pop culture, stuff like that. I really like to know things and feel like I can, if I were dropped into the middle of a cocktail party with a bunch of artists and gallerists, I would not feel stupid. If that might not be true, but that's how I like to feel from my sofa. So yes.
No,
How
I
about
think that's
you?
right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, yeah, no, conversely, my biggest sofalite trait
Hmm.
is that I read a lot about fashion. And
Mm-hmm.
so you will hear me probably on this podcast not know how to pronounce the names of any of the major fashion houses. Like
Yeah.
that's, like when you have a friend that is very smart and you can tell that they read a lot, but that they don't speak to a lot of other smart people because they pronounce
Yes.
things wrong.
Yeah.
That is me with fashion houses.
I mean, in your defense, that's very easy to do because a lot of them have weird pronunciations. And it's true, like you don't always like who the hell are you gonna say Loewe to? Like I only like figured out how to say Loewe from Instagram because someone was like making a joke about it. So like
Yes,
yeah,
Loewe.
yeah,
Like, tell me how to pronounce. Is it Moulier? Is it Mugler?
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
Mugler? Like, is it a
yeah,
soft G? No one knows.
yeah.
Someone knows,
I
but
would
I
love
don't
to
know.
know. I don't know either. Like I only read about
I know
people
that
wearing
Zendaya has that
Mugler.
robot costume. I don't know how to pronounce the designer.
Yes, yes, that happens to me sometimes too. Um and also like hearing it wrong for a long time, you kind of like get into the groove of saying it wrong and
Yeah,
then it's hard to break. Like yeah, so
it's crazy. It's so if I
yeah.
were at that cocktail party, people would think that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do.
Well, just like the first time I heard someone say Yves Saint Laurent, I was very confused because I'm like, I know that, but that
Oh,
doesn't make sense. So sometimes you guys be like Eves, and it sounds a little pretentious, but at least you like connected, or like just say
I
Saint
feel like
Laurent,
people
whatever part you
say
don't
Saint
know.
Laurent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, whatever part you don't know, you can like drop that part. Maybe
Yes,
I don't
just
know.
pronounce the
Yeah,
other parts.
yeah,
Love that.
but that's one idea.
Well,
Um,
this is going to be really challenging moving into Copenhagen Fashion Week because
mm-hmm,
so many of these designers are Nordic and
mm-hmm.
I don't know what we're going to do about the
I
pronunciation.
know we're gonna have to watch a lot of YouTube videos of Nordic people talking, I guess.
I studied Swedish and like I thought that it
Oh.
would set me up better for this, but it didn't.
Oh, I didn't know you'd study Swedish because I know you have Swedish ancestors, so I didn't know that you study
Just a
Swedish
little
now.
bit. Like I know how to like order a coffee in Sweden.
Mm.
There are a
Oh,
lot of ways
awesome.
to order a coffee in Sweden. I think coffee's really important to
Oh, I didn't
Swedish
know
people.
that. Oh, that's good to know. I thought that was like only Italians. Good to know. Um, I know how to order coffee in Italian too, but of course there are
Very
many different
important.
types of coffee. But I always liked the iced latte, so I had to learn how to say that when I was studying
Oh.
abroad. Yeah. I won't say it because I'll probably sound like an American saying it after not hearing it for so long. But I was like standing. It was funny. I went out to dinner with some friends last night, and we were sitting next to these people, like waiting for a table, and they're speaking Italian. I'm like, what could I say to them in Italian right now that couldn't be like a way in and that could sound cool? I'm like, the only thing I remember how to say is, "Can I have a nice latte and do you have a lighter?" That's all I remember. So
Oh.
not very useful. Yeah, so it Copenhagen Fashion Week will be a little tough. Like one that I think about a lot because I do have some items from this brand, Ganni. It's Gani, right? Or is
Yes.
it Johnny? I don't know. I have to
G-A
figure.
Ghani, right?
Gani. That's what I thought. I always said Gani in my head. Yeah. Yeah, Gani, I think they're Danish, right? Or they're
Yes.
Swedish. I don't know. But
I
that's a
don't know.
good trick. I do have a friend who is like dual Swedish citizenship. I should ask her.
That's
Maybe I'll
cool.
do that. But be like, how would you say this word? But I feel like the Danish and Swedish don't always agree on how to say things. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah, no, I think they're
but
pretty different. I
yeah.
don't.
So a lot of
We're
different
gonna we're gonna learn a
Nordic.
lot and we're gonna learn it together
Yeah.
during this
Yes.
first coverage of Copenhagen Fashion Week. I was speaking to
Yes.
someone today and they didn't know that there was a Copenhagen Fashion
Oh
Week
my
and
God.
I'm so excited for them to experience their first one in
Yes.
like following the coverage on socials and on this podcast.
Yes. So how did you describe it to them? Like, what was your framing of it?
Oh, that it's my favorite fashion week of the year,
Mm-hmm.
which is true,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that it's a great place to see up and coming like Nordic designers and
Mm.
the like Nordic aesthetic design. But for me, it's mostly about the streetwear that
Yes.
the people coming to the shows are photographed in, and I'm
Yes.
obsessed with it and I love it.
Totally agree. I haven't really used my Pinterest board in a while, but I was looking at stuff I'd saved for clothes, and it's like at least 50%. I'd say it's 50% Copenhagen Fashion Week, like 15% Sienna Miller at different stages of her life, and the rest is just random
Wow.
stuff. But yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, the
Whatever
what I
happened to Sienna Miller? What is she up to
oh,
now?
she's still around and she looks amazing. I Whoever
Of
is doing
course she
her work,
does.
speaking of facial work, whoever's doing her work is a magician.
Oh yeah,
Because yeah,
she had a baby recently, right? And she was out like
I
with her
think
belly
so.
out on like the
Yeah,
carpet. That was
that's
cool.
right. Yeah, yeah. And she was in a show a couple years ago, I think called Notes on a Scandal, which was quite good. And I started
Oh yeah,
watching
yeah, yeah.
it. Yeah, and I started watching. Was it Notes on a Scandal? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anatomy of whatever. But I think Notes of the Scandal is the one with Judy Dench. But I think this is Anatomy of a Scandal. Anyways, it's on Netflix.
Oh,
Also has
okay.
Rupert Friend, I believe. But I was watching it with my mom, and I was like, I'm starting to feel ugly watching Sienna Miller. She's like, yeah, she's like the most beautiful one I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, this is the problem with watching TV is you just start to feel inadequate with all the people on the TV. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. But
Yeah.
anyways, um, she was my style icon in high school, and it's fun to watch her develop into her 40s and see how things change. But
She is so
anyways,
beautiful.
yes,
Although I feel
yeah,
like she doesn't get cast a lot, and I wonder if it's because she's so beautiful that
yeah,
like her face is kind of so perfect that it's almost
hmm
forgettable.
yeah. It's like that is something. She almost looks like. It's funny because she was born in New York, but she's British, and maybe her one of her parents is American. I don't know, but she looks very like American to me. But then
Yeah.
she's British, so it's like I don't know where you like put her. I don't know. So um, yeah, there's
Yeah,
probably a
like who
struggle
is
there.
getting all of Sienna Miller's work?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but
I guess she
um,
doesn't make a strong impression. I will say this about like her fashion makes a much stronger impression than I think
yes,
her like acting does.
yeah,
Maybe I
yeah,
didn't watch Notes on a Scandal
yeah.
or
She is
The
good.
Anatomy of a Scandal.
Yeah, whatever it was called, something about Scandal. She's good. Like I like her. But I've never been like, oh my God, wow, what an amazing performance or whatever. So that might be part of it. And yeah, I think you're right. There's like I read this short story once and it was like someone was talking about how this person was like so beautiful and everything was so perfect. There was like nowhere to like rest your eyes or like nowhere to like kind of hold on to almost. And there's something like that going on with her where it feels almost like she is a Barbie doll, and there's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. So
Well,
interesting,
I wish her
but
the best. I hope she's doing
yes,
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure she is. She just had a baby with a younger guy, so can't be doing too
Yes.
badly. Yeah, but
Age gap relationships, all the rage.
hmm I know. Yeah, but yeah, Copenhagen. So what I love about it is it's like so it's not as like harsh as like a Milan Fashion Week. It's not as like kind of I don't want to say twee, that's not quite right, but London, can be a little bit twee or a little bit like, you know, what's the word? Not cutesy, but there's like I'm not quite landing on the right word, but there's a charm to it that is a little bit too overt for me. And in
Yeah,
Copenhagen, it's like
charming.
there's yes, yeah. In Copenhagen, it's like there's weird colors, there's weird patterns, there's weird shapes, but they're all put together and in an often very wearable way, which I love. So, and it's like
Yes.
unusual things that on the streets with streetwear, I mean. And I don't feel like people are as uptight. There's not like a beholden, like people don't feel as beholden maybe to wear the designer to wherever they're going. And it's like a little bit looser, and there's some really cool stuff you end up seeing. So, what do you think? What are your favorite
Yes.
parts?
I mean, I love that. I think a lot of the looks that people wear in their streetwear in Copenhagen are kind of like unisex looks, which is very
Yeah.
cool to me. I think
Yes.
that that's maybe where we began to see like chunky loafers coming back a couple years
Mhm.
ago, and like
Yeah.
wide leg pants, very, very big. All of the
Mhm.
like crochet trend stuff of the
Yes.
last couple of years, I feel like that all really stemmed from Copenhagen. And they do a lot of color, considering that they are like up there in the north, and they do have
Mhm.
like kind of many designers that show have like a very clean minimalist aesthetic, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of color in the streetwear, which I think is very fun.
Yeah. Mhm. I totally agree. Yeah, there's a lot of really I think that's where we saw the chunky loafers, definitely where we saw all of the knitwear, the crochet, and yeah, I think it's like there's a quirkiness to it, but still sophisticated maybe, that I really like. So it's exciting to see
Yeah.
what people
And
wear.
also,
But
like, people are not out there kind of just to be seen the way that they are at like New York
yes.
Fashion Week. Like,
Yes.
there are a lot of like stunt casting of models, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of like who's in the front row at various shows. And I feel like if a celebrity is at Copenhagen Fashion Week, they're sneaking in there, and they don't, it's
Mhm.
not usually covered as heavily as like the other
Yeah.
fashion weeks, which is maybe a shame for designers that are trying to get their name out there, but it's nice that
Yeah.
the attention isn't being taken off of the fashion by who's in attendance.
Yes. Totally agree. I think there's a
But
real
maybe there's a way that they could strike that balance a little bit better, because I'm sure they
yeah.
would like, you know, Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper to like be coming in a funny hat, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Which I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could find the right hat for Copenhagen. But um yeah, I totally agree. I think like maybe they are deserving of more attention, but that's one of the nice things about the fashion week though too, is it's everyone is like not everyone, but a lot of people are in the fashion world. They're trying to interpret it for their real life. They're trying to like, it's like a little bit heightened, it feels like, from their normal life, but it's not absurd and it's not like yeah, as like peacocking as New York maybe. So yeah, I like that. It's a really good part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also
Yeah, so
great
I'm
like
excited.
yeah, and they're also great cold weather dressing, usually. So it's
Yes.
really nice. Yeah.
Oh, this is the other thing that I love about Copenhagen is that, and this might be a Nordic designer thing, is that it's a lot of cold weather dressing, but
Hmm.
every single designer will show a swimwear look
Oh
as
yeah.
part of their line, because
Yeah, they're like, we
I
know
think that,
seasons.
yeah, well, they just like, I think that that's part of like the color story and like all of this stuff, is that they
Hmm.
appreciate summer so much more
Hmm.
in
For
parts of
sure.
the world where like it's very cold a lot of the time. So I can
Yeah.
really appreciate that,
Hmm.
because I live in a
Yeah.
place where it's very cold a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like real
I
like Olaf the snowman from Frozen energy, where like when it's summer, it is time to go. And they are
yes.
there and they are ready with a swimwear look and also a parka. Like everything is on
Yeah.
that runway every summer and every winter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's very true. They appreciate seasons in a different way, I think. And yeah, and the colors make it a lot more joyous almost, even though there is a sternness, of course, like in the minimalist. But yeah, I totally agree. It's like this feeling of um summer, like they want to evoke summer somehow, which is kind of nice. So I
Yeah,
like that a
it's a
lot.
lovely
Yeah.
appreciation of the summer season and of swimwear and
Yeah.
of bodies. They like, I think more than any, although it's become very popular in the
Mhm.
last couple of years, certainly having like non-traditional models is like a huge, huge part of Copenhagen. There's
Mhm.
always going to be like various body types. There's going to be people with, every gender wearing every kind of garment, and which is very cool because I think that's how it's
Yeah.
worn and it's meant to be very
Mhm.
wearable. So it's nice that like they're showing it on lots of different types of bodies. People in the audience have lots of different types of bodies.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not just, a person who kind of is impersonating a coat hanger walking down, and then you have to
Yeah.
guess how it's going to look on a normal human. They're taking the
Yes,
guesswork. It's very,
totally.
Nordic people are very practical.
Yes, that is true. That is a very good point. Nordic people are eminently practical. So if there's going to be anything about what's happening, it's going to be practical and wearable, and you're going to be able to interpret it somehow, even if it's weird.
I feel like that's the other thing, is that everyone comes with something so different every
Yeah.
season. So I just am here for the ride.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. You don't have to really have an allegiance to like a house or a brand for to enjoy it because it's you get such a mix. It's really fun. Yeah. But yeah.
yes, a
Yeah.
super fun fashion week awaits us.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of other
Yes.
things happening in the fashion world, PT Womo was this past week, which is,
No,
are you familiar? This is like, I don't
I
know
am not.
why this is like pinging on my socials, and maybe it's because I follow a lot of fashion,
Mm-hmm.
but I swear that like we're coming down to the wire of this Trump inauguration,
Mm-hmm.
and things are getting a little wild out there. And like what would normally be just kind of like a lovely thing in my feed of PT Womo, which is this like a men's clothing and accessories, not like a full fashion week, but kind of like a trade conference or like a trade
Mm-hmm.
show, for menswear and men's accessories, which happens in Florence. But like for some reason, it was reading to me as just like a big congregation of men, and I was like,
Oh,
it was like making me feel a little
interesting.
uncomfortable, even though
Oh,
like
I
it's
got this up.
very in the service of fashion and the fashion industry. I was just like, are we really comfortable with this many men just like getting together unsupervised?
Yeah.
Just, I guess what I'm saying is, let's all just watch the men moving
Okay, let's
forward
just keep
into
an eye on the
2025. Let's
men.
just keep our eyes on those people.
Keep an eye on the men if possible. Yes. Okay, I looked that up because I did not see that come up, but I'm
Yeah.
curious now.
I
But
mean, it
yeah,
seemed like
and
it
then
was great. And
yeah,
I mean, obviously, like menswear is a huge part of fashion. And
yeah,
I
for
just feel
sure.
like, do men need things that are just for them in 2025? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good
I
question.
know that
That's a
like
very
all
good
the
question.
menswear lines dropped this past week. And like, so maybe I'm overreacting, but I feel
No,
like my
but
guard is up.
that's a valid question, especially with the world we're entering into this year. I'm going to think about that. Do men need things that are just for them this year or
I say
ever?
no.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're
No.
all
And I
about
am fully committed to a double standard where
yeah,
women can
yeah,
still have things that are just for us, but men
yeah,
have had that privilege taken away for as long as
yeah.
it takes for them to get their shit together.
That's a good point. They need to get their shit together. And it's really, yeah, seeing a lot of these powerful men doing crazy things right now is kind of disturbing. So I'm okay with us having a few privileges that uh, supersede that kind of old vibe, but or old status quo. So I like that.
Yeah.
But
Like, we're
yeah,
not going to make America great again, and we're not going to make fashion great again. Like, we just need to
yeah,
move. We need to keep moving forward.
yes. Let's just keep going forward and make progress and not make it weird, guys. Okay,
Just
please.
don't make it weird. We're
2025.
also
Don't make it weird.
talking to you, Sebastian Stan. Stop making it weird.
Stop being weird. We're trying to like you. We want to
We
like you,
want
and
to like
you,
you. I
your
just,
work
oh
is
my God.
cool. But yeah, oh my god, yeah. Stop being weird about it. But yes, speaking of men who are weird in a good way, before we wrap up, I do want to just say a quick word about David Lynch because he did pass away this week, which is quite sad.
Oh, our favorite
Yeah,
weird man.
yeah, yeah. He is weird in a great way. Um, I always was into Isabella Rossellini is kind of like the woman I want to be when I grow up. She's amazing. Uh, she used to be an actress. I'm sure people know her from Blue Velvet. She's still acting a lot, but she also owns. She was in Conclave recently.
I watched
But she
that. It
also
was good. She was
yeah.
good.
Okay, I have to watch that. Yeah. But she also owns a farm on Long Island and has all these animals and does this weird stuff about like animal procreation, like on TV shows. It's great.
Yeah, the
And she was
bug
in a
thing,
relation.
that was cool.
Yes, yes, and she was in a relationship with David Lynch for a long time, and so I did think of her right away. And I thought of this story. It's just not really a good David Lynch tribute story. I think there's a lot out there. He said a lot of amazing things and has done a lot of amazing things, obviously. But she was also married to Martin Scorsese back in the 70s, I believe. And um, she was with David Lynch for a long time, and he would not show affection publicly, and then at this one event he kissed her publicly, and then right after he broke up with her, and Martin Scorsese calls yeah, Martin Scorsese calls up Elizabeth or Isabella Rossellini, was like, I knew he was going to do that, and she was like break up with you, and she was like, how did you possibly know he was going to do that? And he's like, because he kissed you publicly, he was feeling guilty and he wanted to do something. So I thought that was very interesting. These two
See,
directors like reading each other, and I thought that was really interesting. But
and this is why we can't just let men to their own devices.
exactly.
Like, be a
Yeah,
pal, Marty. Like, you say
yeah.
something.
Say something earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was a funny story. Not necessarily a tribute type story to David Lynch, but he is amazing. He's done a lot of work with transcendental meditation. Outside of his film work, he's,
Yes.
I think we all know how interesting and wonderfully weird he was. So,
He
yeah.
was. He was the best, weirdest director of just
Hmm.
like just strange, beautiful dreams. He was like reading the weather for, are you aware of this?
No, I didn't know this. What was happening?
Well, so looking in his IMDb, I discovered this and then was able to corroborate that like sometimes he would just like do the weather,
Oh,
which is lovely.
interesting. I did not know that. Wow. I did. That makes a lot of sense though, because I did see a lot of stuff on Instagram about him kind of talking about the weather. I'm like, where did this come from? Okay, and now I know. I need to look it up. But
Yes, David Lynch,
yeah.
visionary filmmaker, amateur meteorologist. He will be
Very
so, so
rigorous
missed.
meditator. Yes, he will be missed, and we do owe a
Can
lot
you
to him.
meditate rigorously?
It's a good question. I think you can. I think you can be very rigorous at meditation. If you talk to the
Is that the
transcendental
point of
meditation people,
meditation?
yeah, transcendental meditation is they don't fuck around. They are very
Well, they
serious about
certainly do
it.
not.
So yeah, I took a class once, and or like I did the series of classes, and I have not kept it up, but it seems like it would be helpful, and a lot of very successful people have used it. So maybe there's something there. But um, yeah, so we will miss him. We owe a lot to him. The world will be a little less interesting without someone like David Lynch. So
And a
big
little
tribute.
less weird, and the
Yeah,
poorer for it, but
yeah,
we'll
that's
take up the
true.
mantle and we'll try to be weird for
Yes,
David.
we'll be as weird as we can. We will honor him every year with as much weirdness as we can muster.
What's the weirdest thing that came across your feed this week? Speaking of the weird and
Oh,
wild world out there.
interesting. Actually, something came up today that was at one time kind of banal and also sort of interesting or weird, but this it was a really it was a story about a woman who got married, had a rehearsal dinner, and her husband's cousin did like a terrible speech about penises and like ruined
Oh
the
no.
whole yeah, and like ruined the whole rehearsal dinner, and that was um and people started leaving during the speech because it was so vile apparently.
It was so penis heavy that they were like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't. I have to get
yeah,
out of
like
here.
there was some joke about the groom having like no penis or something, having a curse in the family,
Oh
and then
no.
but this cousin was all was super hung. It was a very weird story,
Getting
and I'm
a
like,
little personal at the rehearsal dinner.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I'm not sure this like warrants. Like it was like she was also making a very big deal of it, and I'm like, okay, well, worse things have happened, but that is a very weird speech. So it was. I had weird reaction to it myself. I'm like, that is a terrible speech. I'm very sorry that happened to you. But um, she was making it out like he ruined her wedding, and I'm like, I don't think he ruined your wedding,
Well, just the
but I
rehearsal,
see.
didn't? I mean, it's a
Yeah, I
good
see
thing
how
he
he
got it out of
dampened
his
it.
system
That's true. Yeah.
at the
Yes.
rehearsal, and he didn't give this toast
Yeah.
at the wedding.
That is very true. And I was like, yeah, and yeah, he might have ruined it a little bit, but I'm sure the other speeches were amazing, and we should all talk about them too. So, and she did say that she's like, all the other speeches were great, and all everyone could talk about was this terrible one that this guy gave. So, but yeah,
Oh.
so that was a little weird. But yeah, what about you? Weird things in your feed?
There was something that came across my feed that I just, and I feel like a lot of fake news comes across a lot of feeds, and so maybe I was misreading the situation, but I could have sworn that this was like a TikTok of someone possibly like standing on the shoulders of those Mormon women who like put like protein shakes in their sodas or whatever,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a weird beverage moment where someone was making hot cocoa and instead of using like water or milk, they were using bone broth to make like a high
Oh,
protein hot cocoa.
I don't know. I like that idea.
And it really stayed with like I can't like I feel like I can taste it. Like so it
Yeah,
was
are
a
you gonna
really
try
effective TikTok, but
it? Yeah.
disgusted.
It's disgusting. But yeah, I do like a pinch of salt in chocolatey things, but that's a lot of
Sure, but like I feel like even
umami.
a gross like texture, like
Yes,
because like a bone
yes,
broth is like
yeah.
kind of viscous.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be good in hot chocolate. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah,
No, and like the amount of
yeah,
like chocolate you would have to put in there to mask the like
yeah.
very hearty umami
Mm-hmm.
like bone broth. Like it would be like gelatinous. It would be terrible.
Yeah,
So here's a
it'd be
PSA for
thick.
not ever using bone broth to make your hot cocoa.
Yes, that's I would stand behind that. I think you don't
I
need
don't know
that.
what I did
Yeah.
in a past life to have this like cursed thing come across my feed.
Just put a little, if you really want protein, you can use soy milk that has protein in it,
Yeah.
and you don't want to use milk. There's lots of other options.
Or like if
Um,
you want, so I have this really good like pea protein that
yeah,
is chocolate flavored that
nice.
actually does make like a real, I haven't tried it as hot cocoa, but I put it in my coffee sometimes and
Oh,
you
good
really have to like
idea.
you got to mix it.
Yeah, yeah,
But if you have a frother
yeah,
and you put some almond milk in there, it's quite good.
yeah. I love pea protein. It's like it's basically all I have. But yeah, no, that's a great idea. Let's try that maybe next time. Let's try that TikTok. But yeah, all right. Well, so until next time, we got a lot of stuff happening. Copenhagen Fashion Week is about 2 weeks away, I believe. What's
Yes.
today? The 13th? The 18th? What is today?
Today's
I
the
can't read my.
18th, so we are
Oh
just
my
9 or
gosh.
11 days away.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe how fast this month has gone. Wow. Okay, Copenhagen Fashion Week
Wild.
coming up very soon, in a little under 2 weeks. And we will be here for all of that, and hopefully everyone else will enjoy it as much as we do, and we can break it down.
Yay.
So yeah,
We will break it
but
down for you here.
yeah,
And yeah, we'll
Steph will be like, yeah, Steph will be
hopefully
back next time. She's in India right now, so we didn't make her wake up in the middle of the night to do this. So, but she'll be back next time. Yeah,
yes, she'll be
yeah,
back with lots of fun news from India. Hopefully she can watch some of these award movies on the plane.
yeah. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking
And
about some more musicals next week, I believe. So that'll be fun. But
yes,
yeah,
I'm excited about that. I'm excited for award season ramping up.
yeah, yeah.
So it'll
We
be good
see.
to
Yeah,
talk.
yeah, yeah. It'll be fun. All right, signing off. Okay, bye
See you
everyone.
next time.
Yeah.